Hey, it's Steve and Rachel here. We're continuing our driver certifications. Rachel's going to take us through general logbook rules and regulations.
Working equipment, first and foremost. Second of all, we have to have a backup log because even the best equipment is going to break down. So every driver is required to have no excuse. We always have to have a log. So here's our backup log. We should keep that with our permit book. Now the other thing a company has to provide for its drivers is also officer information card. Officers have to have information on a system in case the driver was not present, and it is required. It is literally an hours of service electronic log regulation that we provide this. So in your permit book, inside your permit book somewhere is a card, both a driver tech card and a PeopleNet card. So it doesn't matter what system you have with us, we're going to provide those. They're in your permit book. So given anytime you're inspected, an officer asks for anything of the sort, a card, a packet, if you understand what they're asking for is information on how to access your unit, there it is. It's in your permit book. Now, when it comes to electronic logs, we have to enforce the fact that our drivers always have a log. And if you're not logged onto the system, you don't have a log. So unassigned drive is a really big thing that we have to watch out for. So you need to be logged onto your unit, be it a PeopleNet or Driver Tech. Just be logged on anytime you're in the truck, and then if you do start moving around doing things on duty, then your log's already ready to go. Now when it comes to breakdowns, going on paper, there's a procedure that we have to follow so that everybody gets this right and we know what's going on. Going on paper, first and foremost, a driver doesn't just decide to go on paper. I mean, if your screen is broken, there's no question. But if it's some background electronic thing going on, our technicians may actually be able to fix that. So where you're thinking, I mean, this is hosed, it's not going to work, you just call in and we'll work with you. Once we determine that that log is actually not working, the electric log is not working, then we give you the authorization to go ahead and go on paper. At that point, you're going to give us some contact information so we can get your prior 7 logs to you. Again, that's required. We have to have that prior 7, or you have to have that prior 7 in your possession. So that if you were inspected, the officer has everything that they need. So going on paper means communicating with the company and then following through if you do end up on paper to get those prior 7 sent to you. Now, another general thing that we have to cover is violations. When violations happen, you end up having to drive, you're at a shipper, and you end up being there too long, your 14 runs out, and then they tell you you have to leave the property. So how do we deal with that? I mean, you're being forced into a violation, you have no option. Well, you're going to send Macro 46. Macro 46 is an explanation of drive-in violation, and again, it works for PeopleNet and the Driver Tech, any electronic system that we were to be having. So it just explains why you're having that violation, how long you think you're going to be in violation, and gives the safety department the heads up next morning when they come in and they see the violation. We may not even need to call you because your explanation is in that macro is everything that we need. We certainly try to avoid violations, and the safety department has to deal with each serious violation for what it is. But when we have those small ones, we need those macros in there so that we can identify who we really need to talk to and who we don't. The other thing that's a general thing about logs that covers all systems is personal conveyance. Everybody needs to know the rules. Personal conveyance isn't a DOT regulation, it's a loophole. So we need to be very careful that as we go about our business and we're using personal conveyance and we need to use it, that we're using it properly. So first and foremost, we have to do this only when we're unloaded. Here at Pride, it is our company policy that we can use personal conveyance when we have a trailer. So we're not restricting anyone to bobtail use only, all right? So you can use it if you have a trailer, but you have to be empty. You can't be using personal conveyance if you're going in the direction of your dispatch. So here we pre-plan people a lot, so that tends to be a thing that's easy to do. You get your pre-plan, you know where you're going to be heading, so you can avoid that personal conveyance in the wrong direction. So The first rule is never when loaded. The second rule is generally not in the direction of your commerce, in the direction you're going to be going. And last, it's for short distances only. Personal conveyance should be to get you to the grocery store or down to the laundromat, somewhere where you're just going to be doing personal things. If you're doing anything that involves the truck, like driving down to the shop, that would not be personal conveyance. So we need to make sure that we're actually using it for personal reasons only. And those little short distances, Pride has the policy of 30 minutes a day. So each driver should use no more than 30 minutes of personal conveyance in any given day. If you are going home, we have a standing leniency for that fleet-wide, because we've always allowed our drivers to drive significant distances to get home. But in that case, that you would be going over 30 minutes a day in a day to get yourself home, you simply discuss that with your dispatcher and with the safety department if needed, so that we all know what's going on and that this violation is actually a home time move, and it's not therefore violating our company policies in general. And so that's the everything everybody needs to know about the general log-related rules and best practices.